Spencer, man. So what's the deal? So apparently Greg Newsome that had hamstring surgery, Dalvin Tomlinson is headed to get a knee scope tomorrow. Kevin Stefanski said that when it comes to Newsome, he's expecting Newsome back week 1. Man, I got to tell you, man, soft tissue injuries already this early, that is not a good sign for the Cleveland Browns or Greg Newsome, who's playing in the contract year, man. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's a bad omen. It feels like to get this news first day of camp practice, and it was kind of the first red flag was that he was on that physically unable to perform list that came out obviously on Wednesday, one day before. So that was very surprising. Tomlinson's popping up on that list was surprising, and actually I got that wrong. Newsome was on the non-football injury list. Tomlinson was on the PUP list, but you get the idea. But yeah, like I think. The thing I want to make clear to people that Kevin Stefanski said specific to Tomlinson, because Tomlinson has to have a knee scope, and that can be, it sounds like a little bit of a longer recovery and sometimes take some time. He made it sound like this was a situation where they got him in the building. It was maybe just like something that built up over time, and the MRI sort of showed it. And they made the determination, hey, let's get this done now so it's not a problem later in the season. It's a 17-game season. We want you late in the year more than we need you maybe to start the season. So let's get it done now while you still have some time to kind of recover, and then we'll see you when you can get back out there. So I think that's the positive spin on all this, is that it sounds like both have a chance to maybe be ready for the start of the season, if not early on, a couple weeks into the season. So I wouldn't expect some long, drawn-out thing here. Granted, the hamstring thing is always a concern because those can last all season long. I mean, we saw what happened to Juan Thornhill last year when he was dealing with a soft tissue injury. The other thing, Earl, and Denzel Ward talked about it a little bit, but while Newsome's out, this is a key thing for Browns fans to pay attention to. Watch Cameron Mitchell. Cameron Mitchell is the next man up in the slot, also from Northwestern. He's a Northwestern guy like Newsome. And like that position, I was already kind of teasing that a little bit leading up to camp, like, hey, just watch him during the preseason because he might be the future at the position. Now he's getting like an actual audition during training camp, during the preseason to see what he can do. And it's maybe your first look at, okay, if this is really Greg Newsome's last season with the Browns, this is the guy who's going to kind of step up and fill that role. So I think it's worth paying attention to Cameron Mitchell throughout camp now if you didn't already have him on a list of guys that you were going to be watching.
See, for the fans who don't know, me and Spencer are like brothers. If you just look at us closely, yeah,
I mean, our skin complexion is the same, right? It's close enough.
We have this thing to where like we either thinking the same damn thing at the same time, or we have a totally opposite opinion on whatever's going on. And it's funny that you brought up Cam Mitchell because I mean we've talked about this. Like he's actually a natural nickel corner. This is the position that he played at Northwestern, and when he got the opportunities last year to show what he can do as a rookie, he was pretty impressive. Minus that dropped interception, but outside of that, he was pretty impressive. And here he is coming into camp with an opportunity, as you said, to audition and to show, you know what, man, I got this spot on lock going forward. I mean, pretty much he's the starting nickel corner as of right now today. So because we don't know how those soft tissue injuries is going to take place or how the rehab is going to play itself out, but clearly the Cleveland Browns plan on taking things slower with Greg Newsome. So I guess to that, do you see any scenario of the Cleveland Browns bringing another corner in, possibly in the next day or so? You know what I'm saying? Just to have as another camp body.
It's a possibility. I think it's not a bad thought by you. I don't think that's at the forefront of their mind right now. I think I honestly think they're probably comfortable with the guys that they have here, and they'll just kind of let it play out for now. But it's always a thought, like, okay, because the other thing is, like with the 90-man roster, there's a lot of moving parts. Like I don't know what they're going to do if Tomlinson's injury is going to be a little bit longer. Maybe they're going to look defensive line first. Granted, that room's already pretty deep. So there's a lot of it's always a puzzle this time of year. You never know exactly what they're going to do. But I don't necessarily think they need to add to the cornerback room at this juncture, especially because I think, to your point, like I think they feel really good about Cameron Mitchell. I'm going to be honest, like the moment that stands out for me with Cameron Mitchell is that tackle he made, like the shoestring tackle he made on Justin Fields in the Bears game, which basically saved the game. So yeah, like I think they feel pretty good about this group, and they'll at least give it some time to see how these guys all kind of fit and where it all kind of like how it all kind of comes together. Maybe if you get late in the preseason and you're trying to save Cameron Mitchell and and some of these other guys to avoid injury, maybe third preseason game where it's just about. I mean, I hate to use it in this terminology, but a lot of those guys are going out there as like crash test dummies to like just get through a preseason game and see if they can earn a roster spot. So yeah, like I think like maybe at that point you're just trying to find a body and like have them on the roster for a week. But I don't necessarily think that's like at the top of their priority list right now, because I think they feel pretty good about it, especially with they got Harden coming in, who's a rookie, so they got some other options as well.
Yeah. So one quick thing before we get to this comments to wrap up. We talked about what's behind Greg Newsome, but with Dalvin Tomlinson having this knee scope and understanding, okay, this is kind of like just a precautionary procedure type thing. But what type of opportunities does this create for a guy like Mike Hall?
Yeah. Well, I will say this. Like, I think Mike Hall is, no matter what, he's obviously safe to make the roster when we get to the 53. And you're going to see him get a lot more opportunities now. I think with the starting rotation, he's going to get a chance to really shine in the coming weeks. And I think beyond that, like I was having this debate in my head, and I saw this come up a couple times in conversation. Further down the depth chart in that defensive line group is some interesting, because in the past, like the Browns have generally, I think there was one year where they kept 5 with this regime, that they kept 5 defensive tackles. Other than that, they usually only keep 4. But this felt like a year where they were just going to keep 5 because they re-signed Maurice Hurst, but they also added Quentin Jefferson. And it was like, okay, like where do all these guys fit? With Tomlinson now dealing with this injury, it's even more likely that you don't have to worry about the sort of position battle between those two. So I do think probably those top 4 guys of Shelby Harris, Maurice Hurst, Mike Hall, and Quentin Jefferson all are probably in a good spot right now with the Tomlinson injury, but I think they probably were anyway. But yeah, definitely I expect Mike Hall to, in the same way we were talking about Cameron Mitchell, get a lot of opportunities here at camp, and when it goes back to Berea, and have a chance to really shine and thrive with that first group. And when we get to preseason game number 1, it'll be really interesting to see how much he plays, how much he's out there with the ones, how much the ones are even playing, and kind of what role he holds. But yeah, that's another good area to certainly keep an eye on now that we know about Tomlinson's injury as well.
He's Spencer German, man, joining me on the Ultimate 216 show. Brother, enjoy the Greenbrier as much as you can. I'm pretty sure you'll much rather be at home with your son and your wife, man, but you're out there handling your business. Thanks for taking some time out your busy schedule to stop by, and I'll see you next time.
Of course, bro. Always appreciate the invite, and happy to do it for you. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate you, man. Shout out to my man Spencer German, man, who stopped by and kind of dropped some info from firsthand info from being at the Greenbrier today. So we covered a lot in this episode of the Ultimate 216 show. We got a couple minutes, man. If I can get my damn mouse to work, we can go through some of these comments just to get your thoughts on Kevin Stefanski and the play calling and things like that. But I will say this. I think that for me, a couple things I will be looking for training camp wise this year is, of course, seeing how Deshaun Watson looks in Ken Dorsey's offense, seeing the timing and the rhythm and the chemistry that he has with Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, and David Njoku as well. I think that being on the same page with all of your pass catchers is going to help, produce a winning season. But more importantly, as we look forward to with every single training camp, is just get out of camp healthy, right? We got big goals, big dreams, and, we trying to be big steppers in the 2024 season. And the work starts now. This is where you get the timing down. This is where you get the chemistry down. This is where you work out the kinks, right? This is where you get those little nuances together. And so as we track the Browns training camp, they got 8 more days left at the Greenbrier. Then they're going to come home and be in Berea. And we're going to be paying close attention day by day of everything that's going on with the Cleveland Browns. We'll keep you posted on the latest with Greg Newsome, latest with Dalvin Tomlinson. And the biggest news of the day is head coach Kevin Stefanski will remain the Cleveland Browns play caller for the foreseeable future, man. As always, I love spending time with you all. I love getting this opportunity to do this, man. Thank you for spending some time with me throughout your day. Remember, man, if you woke up, you already won. Protect your peace, man. Protect your energy and just all that good stuff. Until next time, remember, be great, spread love. Being great come with a price. Spreading love is priceless. I'm out of here.